In just a moment, you're going to hear a few words from a former inmate named Lucky, who served time in a county jail and a state prison. He is going to describe 4 ways contraband enter a prison. Yes, I know everybody knows how it comes in, but I just wanted to hear a perspective from the other side. As a prison inspector for 12 years in the state of Florida, the majority of my drug busts were from inmate information. And the truth hurts sometimes. We would take the inmates who were untruthful and remove that, and anything an inmate told us that was truthful, we had to back it up with tangible physical evidence. And number 4 of what Lucky says may upset some of you. So let's see what you think, and at the end of this video, the short video from inmate Lucky, I will say a few more words. Now, I will say that when Lucky does speak about number 4, his 4th way contraband comes into the prison, I have found myself, after 12 years of investigations in the prison system, that the largest amounts of contraband come in this way, and many times the most deadly contraband comes in this way. See what you think and let me know, and I'll talk to you at the end of Lucky's video. Thanks for watching.
Hi Gary, Lucky here from Laughing with Lucky. Thank you so much for having me on your channel. I really appreciate it. This is really cool. So contraband, first of all, just for anybody that doesn't know, is anything that an inmate is not allowed to have within the jail or the prison. Now, me personally, I did 3 years total time behind bars. First year was in jail, and then the last 2 was in prison. I started off at a state facility and then transferred to a private facility. I never smuggled any contraband into jail or prison, just only because, Gary, I'm sure you know that the hardest part about being in prison is getting out of prison. And it's just too easy to catch charges, so I was just always concerned about just trying to get out and not trick up my time. But I did know a lot of people that smuggled things in, and I heard a lot of different stories. And it's kind of hard for an inmate not to have some kind of contraband in some sort of way, because it can be something as simple as a pin, a belt, a pair of sunglasses, a wire. People make homemade lamps, and then obviously you have the more crazy stuff like illegal narcotics, tobacco, wine, drugs, weapons, and cell phones. Cell phones were a big thing that people were trying to get in there. Now, ways that people get contraband, it starts just even within the facility, like inside a prison. People take stuff from the kitchen. They take, knives or whatever they can get their hands on, even vegetables and fruits and just food from there. In the tailor shop, the laundry people take like bleach, the clothes and the material that's there. At the tailor shop, they might take the tools that's there. So within the facility, people can get contraband. But how people get it inside of prison, there are 4 main ways that I have heard about or seen. First, I think a commonly known one is through the mail. People get drugs usually sent in through the mail, either by like dipping it in liquid substances that kind of like soak into the paper, or they'll cut the picture open, maybe cut the card or something. In recent times, like since I was in there, at the facility that I was at, they didn't allow the inmates to have their regular mail. Like, everyone got a copy of whatever that was sent in, and then they would just shred, the mail. A second way that I had heard, I never saw this, but people actually coming up to the fence, like they would run down, the state facility I was at was in the mountains, so every now and then there were people that would run down from the mountains or something and then toss maybe a cell phone or something over the fence and then run up the mountain. And then even when I would transfer to the private facility, I heard the same thing. I heard that people used to come up. We weren't allowed in the ball field of the rec yard. And the reason for that was because they said that family members, whoever, would come up to the gate and toss stuff over the fence all the time. So that's the second way. Third way is through visitation. You'll have someone's girlfriend or wife stick some drugs inside her private area, come to visitation, and while sitting at the table, I suppose, like, fish it out, and, you know, they're holding hands at the table, or maybe give a hug or something, and, you know, pass it that way, and then he sticks it up his backside. You know, Gary, I'm not trying to, I'm really not trying to curse or use any crazy words, to be honest with you. And when the guy comes back to the cell, he'll use the bathroom, and that's how he gets it out. Or I've heard that they'll swallow it. The guy, he swallows it, and then when he goes back to the cell, he makes himself throw up either by sticking his finger down his throat or shampoo. Now, the fourth most common way, the main way that contraband is smuggled into prison and jail, I suppose, that is not talked about on, like, the locked up stuff, the documentaries, whatever. It's like they don't want to say this because they're embarrassed about this. But the fourth major way that contraband is honestly smuggled into prisons is through the administration. It is through the correctional officers, the COs, through the counselors, through maybe even the nurses, sometimes even higher up than that. You know, it could be anybody, but those main ones. Unit managers are another one. I don't know why I stuck up the peace sign, but unit managers are another one. That is the main way that it gets in. That's why people, they try to be buddy-buddy. The inmates usually try to be buddy-buddy with unit managers, officers, whoever, because once you start to develop, like, a relationship with that person, then they start bringing stuff in. Cell phones, they'll bring in anything, really. Cash. I met somebody that he got close with a girl, and she gave him $20 for whatever reason. But those are the main ways that I know contraband is smuggled into jail and prison. And Gary, I really appreciate you having me on your channel. Hopefully I didn't embarrass you too much.
Well, if you've come this far, you've watched the whole video. It's not a very long video. And you've heard what Lucky had to say. And I have found all these ways are ways contraband come in the prison. And unfortunately, we are still being tainted by corrupt staff members. Now, I know Lucky said administration, but we have, and he did say counselors and other people. It's not just the uniform. It's a lot of people that work in street clothes at the prison. We have to do something about it. We cannot bury our heads in the sand. The truth is the truth, no matter how much it hurts folks. And I know it's terrible to think that a staff member or anyone working in a prison would bring in contraband, but it happens, and it's happening too much. Let's work together to fight this. And no matter who reports the contraband coming in, let's stop it. Let's work together to stop contraband entering our prison system. Thank you very much for watching. Gary York, True Prison Story.